Hello, beautiful souls. In a society that often highlights compassion, empathy, and understanding, the idea of not always being gentle with everyone might appear contradictory. However, Buddhism offers a deep insight into this matter. Gautama Buddha, the enlightened sage who founded Buddhism over 2,000 years ago, shared priceless wisdom that goes beyond simple courtesy. His teachings deeply explore the nature of human relationships, inner tranquility, and spiritual development. In this journey, we will examine the profound teachings of Gautama Buddha and understand why it is sometimes essential to move past gentleness and adopt a more complex approach to life. At the age of 29, Gautama set out on a spiritual quest to find answers to the basic questions of existence. Why do we suffer, and how can we achieve enduring happiness and inner peace? After years of rigorous meditation and self-reflection, he attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, India. From that moment forward, he was known as the Buddha, the Awakened One, and began disseminating his insights to the world. Buddha's teachings are centered around the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. These fundamental doctrines constitute the bedrock of Buddhism and provide profound guidance on navigating the intricacies of human existence. The Four Noble Truths are the cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy, offering a lucid framework for understanding the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. Let's delve into these truths and their relevance to the concept of not always being gentle with everyone. Number 1. The truth of suffering. Buddha's first noble truth acknowledges the presence of suffering in the world. He understood that suffering is an intrinsic aspect of human life, encompassing physical pain, emotional distress, and the dissatisfaction that arises from constant desire. While being gentle with everyone may temporarily alleviate some forms of suffering, it does not tackle the root causes of suffering. Gautama Buddha encourages us to face suffering directly, acknowledging its existence in our lives. By doing so, we gain clarity and insight into the nature of suffering, enabling us to discover effective ways to overcome it. Number 2. The truth of the cause of suffering. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering as attachment and craving. It is in human nature to pursue pleasure and evade pain, but our attachment to these desires results in suffering. Being overly gentle with everyone can be a manifestation of attachment and a longing for approval or validation. Buddha instructs us that releasing attachment and craving is the path to liberation from suffering. This does not imply becoming emotionally detached, but rather cultivating a balanced and compassionate attitude towards others. Number 3. The truth of the cessation of suffering. The third noble truth provides hope by affirming that the cessation of suffering is achievable. It is possible to conquer suffering by eradicating its root causes, attachment and craving. When we stop clinging to external validation or the need to please everyone, we liberate ourselves from the cycle of suffering. Number 4. The truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. The fourth noble truth delineates the Eightfold Path, which is the path to liberation from suffering. This path encompasses ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. While being gentle with everyone may appear as a virtuous trait, the Eightfold Path encourages us to foster discernment and wisdom in our interactions. The Eightfold Path comprises 8 interconnected principles: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The middle way, often associated with Buddhism, is the principle of finding balance and avoiding extremes. In the context of not always being gentle with everyone, the middle way encourages us to strike a balance between compassion and discernment. Gautama Buddha himself exemplified the middle way throughout his life. Before his enlightenment, he had lived an indulgent life as a prince, and then he experimented with extreme asceticism. However, neither extreme brought him enlightenment. The parable of the raft vividly demonstrates the idea of not always being gentle with everyone when it's suitable. This parable underscores the transient nature of Buddhist teachings and the significance of releasing them when they have fulfilled their role. In the parable, a voyager traverses a large river with a makeshift raft built to reach the opposite bank. Upon safely arriving at the other shore, the voyager abandons the raft, realizing that it fulfilled its role in aiding him to cross the river. The lesson from the parable of the raft informs us that Buddhist teachings, akin to the raft, are intended to be instruments for crossing the river of suffering and ignorance. They are not meant to be held onto indefinitely. Similarly, our approach to not always being gentle with everyone should be adaptable and dependent on the context. At times, being gentle and compassionate is like the raft, assisting others in navigating their challenges. However, there are instances where maintaining excessive gentleness becomes an obstacle. In such situations, we must relinquish our gentleness and adopt a more discerning approach to guide ourselves and others towards liberation from suffering. The middle path in practice. Number 1. Setting boundaries. One prevalent area where the middle path is essential is in establishing boundaries. While it's crucial to be compassionate and accommodating, it's equally vital to set clear boundaries to safeguard our well-being and sustain healthy relationships. In a Buddhist context, boundaries are not perceived as a deficiency of compassion, but as an act of self-care and wisdom. Number 2. Addressing harmful behavior. When confronted with harmful behavior from others, the middle path encourages us to respond with wisdom and compassion. This could involve directly addressing the behavior, offering support for positive transformation, or seeking professional assistance when required. It's crucial to avoid unnecessary severity and abstain from enabling detrimental actions. Number 3. Managing conflicts. Conflicts are an inherent part of human interactions. The middle path instructs us not to evade conflicts or suppress our emotions, but to address them with skillful means. This implies approaching conflicts with mindfulness, active listening, and a readiness to understand others' viewpoints. Instead of being excessively gentle and avoiding conflicts to preserve superficial harmony, the middle path encourages us to participate in constructive dialogue and seek resolutions that foster genuine harmony and understanding. The story of the mustard seed. The story of the mustard seed is about a sad mom who lost her child. She was so sad that she asked Buddha for help. Buddha said he would help her, but she had to do something first. She had to bring him a mustard seed from a home where no one had died. Wanting to feel better, the mom went to many homes looking for this mustard seed. But she found out that everyone had experienced death, and she couldn't find any mustard seed. She went back to Buddha and understood that everyone suffers. The story of the mustard seed shows us that suffering is a part of life. Everyone feels loss, pain, and sadness at some point. The story tells us that being nice to everyone won't take away all suffering. Being nice can make people feel better for a little while, but it doesn't solve the big problems and challenges we all face. Instead, understanding and wisdom, like what Buddha teaches, can help us deal with the human condition in a deeper and more lasting way. Number 1. The art of skillful means. Buddhism says that skillful means are important for guiding others toward enlightenment. Skillful means are about using the right methods and strategies for each person. When it comes to not being nice to everyone, skillful means are needed for good communication and kind guidance. Number 2. Tailoring compassion. Not being nice to everyone doesn't mean being always tough or unkind. It means understanding each person's situation and needs. Skillful means help us adjust our approach to give the right mix of support, guidance, and boundaries. Number 3, recognizing individual differences. Each person is different, and their paths to happiness and well-being are different too. Some people might need a nice and kind approach, while others might need more direct and strong guidance. Skillful means are about recognizing these differences and changing our interactions accordingly. Number 4, empathy and active listening. Skillful means also involve active listening and empathy. By really understanding what others are going through and how they feel, we can respond with more wisdom and kindness. This way, we can give meaningful support and guidance without hurting ourselves. Number 5, embracing impermanence. Impermanence is a basic truth in Buddhism. It tells us that everything, including our feelings and relationships, change and don't last forever. Understanding impermanence is important when it comes to not being nice to everyone. Number 6, the impermanence of emotions. Our feelings change all the time, often because of things happening around us. Being too nice or too tough in response to our feelings can make our relationships unstable. Recognizing that feelings change allows us to respond with balance and wisdom. Number 7, the impermanence of relationships. Even the closest relationships in our lives don't last forever. People change, situations change, and relationships change too. Understanding impermanence helps us enjoy each moment and also be ready for the changes that life brings. Number 8, letting go. The idea of impermanence in Buddhism teaches us how to let go. It shows us that sticking strictly to the idea of always being gentle with everyone doesn't really work. Instead, we can be open and flexible in our relationships and interactions, allowing them to change and grow naturally. Number 9, mindfulness and self-compassion. Mindfulness is a key practice in Buddhism, which is about being aware of the present moment without judging it. Being mindful and kind to ourselves is very important when it comes to not always being gentle with everyone. If you found this information helpful and would like to learn more, please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing this content with others who might benefit from it. Your support helps us continue to provide valuable content like this. Thank you.